Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the Schiit Audio BiFrost 2, and these are my honest impressions. I want to thank the friend and subscriber of the channel who provided the BiFrost 2 for a review. To greatly appreciate it. You know who you are. You rock. Schiit Audio BiFrost 2 is a multi-bit DAC, has a bunch of other things inside it. I'm going to let Schiit Audio describe all of that. So if you are interested in the tech and specs of the BiFrost 2, check out the links down below for the Schiit Audio website. All right, so the BiFrost 2, this thing weighs about 5 pounds. It's about a little bit bigger than my hand, and it is a very nice looking but kind of bland and boring looking device. I truly enjoy this, actually, the look of it. Has a little selector here on the front, some LEDs, an infrared, a little bit of branding on the front and on the top. And in the back, you got your power supply input, your power switch, USB, fiber optic, coax, SPDIF, RCA out, XLR out, and that's it. Very simple device, very well laid out. You do get a remote control, which, changes inputs. You can mute and you can change the phase. I did not use the remote. All right, I found that the BiFrost 2 sits very well on the desk, doesn't slip around, and everything is positioned very well. All the cables and everything are just well behaved. Connectivity, it worked just as it should. I had no problems with it connecting to any of my devices, and the PC found it each and every time. How's it sound? The BiFrost 2 has a very lush and warm sound signature that I truly enjoy. The bass of the BiFrost 2 is truly enjoyable. It's big, it's prominent, but well controlled. It has a nice body to it, very good girth, nice impact, very good, just overall, it just gets down and reaches to it, and you'll feel it, you'll hear it, and it'll move you. Tone and timbre is accurate. I love the bass of the BiFrost 2, and I find that it is never lacking or overbearing. It is right spot on how bass should be. The mids, very much like the bass. There's very good body to them, nice girth to them, very enjoyable, very pleasing, excellent tone and timbre, good details and resolution, and I find that the mids just sound realistic, and they do something very unique. They play well with pianos, acoustical instruments, and stringed instruments. And they drew me to country music. Now, I don't mind country music. I listen to country music, but it's not my number one listening genre. But with the BiFrost 2, I found that I was really enjoying country music more often than normal. So if you're a country music fan and you're looking for a DAC that does country music really well, here you go. BiFrost 2 may be the one for you. The treble. The treble of the BiFrost 2 is very smooth and very laid back. I find that it's very well controlled, has excellent tone and timbre, just like the mids and the bass. And it's enjoyable, non-fatiguing, and it just does its job. But I do wish I had a little bit more energy and a little bit more sparkle and just a little bit more bite to it. In fact, I wish that the overall presentation had a little bit more bite to it, just a little bit more openness, and a little bit more naturalism to it. I find that the overall presentation of the BiFrost 2 lacks in naturalism. It just doesn't quite have that bite and aggressiveness and sharpness and edginess that we can get in the real world. It's just kind of slightly missing on the BiFrost 2. One thing that the BiFrost 2 does that really impresses me, though, is the Soundstage. It does an excellent job in portraying width. So if you think that the venue is large and massive, the Soundstage is going to be that. It portrays it in that way. If you think that the venue, according to that recording, is a little bit smaller, a little more intimate, it sounds that way. And it just does a really good job of adjusting to the width. It also does a really good job with depth and layering. I found that I really enjoyed the ability to be able to diagnose the stage with the BiFrost 2, and it made it very easy. It does a really good job with spacing and placement, and it does a really good job with imaging and tracking. I just found that the soundstage depth and layering capabilities of the BiFrost 2 are just exceptional. It's truly enjoyable. How does it compare to the other DACs that I have in-house? Comparing to the Mytek Liberty, it does a very good job of being very similar in detail retrieval and resolution. I do think that the Mytek has a slight advantage there, but it's very small, if any, increments. Where the Mytek does beat the BiFrost 2, though, is in that naturalism. It has a more open sound, and it does a better job with the sharpness and the sibilance and the edginess and the crispiness and the bitiness that is lacking on the BiFrost 2, and I find that the Mytek does a better job in that regard. Moving on over to the Matrix Element X. The Matrix Element X is just an insanely good DAC. I'm going to do a review of that shortly on the channel, and I just found that the Element X is superior to the BiFrost 2 in every way. It's not really any competition, but it's no fault to the BiFrost 2. It's just totally different topologies and totally different price points. The Element X has that openness, more naturalistic sound signature, and just does better with detail retrieval and resolution. And then comparing it with the different amplifiers that I used it with a head amp GSX Mini, the Drop THX AAA 1 linear, and the Tor Audio Roger, and also the Topping A90. And the Topping A90 was not a good pairing at all with the BiFrost 2. It just sounded boring and bland and just was not enjoyable whatsoever. Tor Audio Roger is a very fun tube amp, and swapping tubes and just enjoying it. I really enjoyed it with the BiFrost 2. It added in this nice lushness, romantic sound, paired very well with some headphones. If you used it with a little bit too warm of a headphone, it would bog down and get a little muddled. But for the most part, it was a very enjoyable sound. And then using the GSX Mini and also the 1 linear, both of those are very clean sounding amplifiers and very uncolored. And I found that the very neutral sounding, and I found that the BiFrost 2 portrayed its warmness and lushness on those very well. Both of them portrayed very well and played very well with everything. Headphone wise, I had no real problems playing it. As I said, if you use a headphone that's a little too warm, the BiFrost may muddle it up and make it sound a little too thick and muddy. One headphone that did show significant difference was actually the Kennerton Gellahorn. The Gellahorn is a very bright sounding headphone and a very aggressive and intense sound. And I found that the BiFrost 2, no matter what amplifier I was using it on, mellowed that out and made it more enjoyable to listen to and kind of tamed those aggressive tendencies. So the BiFrost 2, do I recommend it? Yes, I think it's a fantastic DAC. I think that is a very, very good sounding, very enjoyable sounding DAC. I do wish one thing that had a little bit more naturalism to it, a little bit more realistic tendencies and openness, and with, as I said, in the details with the edges and the sharpness and the biteness and the crisp. So overall, I do enjoy the Schiit Audio BiFrost 2. I think it's an excellent DAC, and I highly recommend it if you are looking for a standalone DAC with a little bit of a warmer, lusher sound signature. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, I understand if you have to give it a thumbs down. Check out the links all around. There's notification links, subscription links, all of that. Don't forget to hit that if you haven't already. And then in the links down below in the description, there's a tier list for how I rank headphones and IEMs. There's also terms and definitions resource guide that may help you to see how I explain things, and all kinds of other things, music playlists, gear X, and all kinds of things. Check out the links down below. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and remember to always enjoy the music, and honesty is the best policy.